Presentation. This may help to explain why the presentation of philosophy is not an external matter of indifference to it, but immanent to its idea. Its integral, non-conceptually mimetic moment of expression is objectified only by presentation in language. The freedom of philosophy is nothing but the capacity to lend a voice to its unfreedom. If more is claimed for the expressive moment, it will degenerate into a Weltanschauung. Where the expressive moment and the duty of presentation are given up, philosophy comes to resemble science. To philosophy, expression and stringency are not two dichotomous possibilities. They need each other. Neither one can be without the other. Expression is relieved of its accidental character by thought, on which it toils as thought toils on expression. Only an expressed thought is succinct, rendered succinct by its presentation in language. What is vaguely put is poorly thought. Expression compels stringency in what it expresses. It is not an end in itself at the latter's expense. Rather, expression removes the expressed from the materialized mischief, which in its turn is the object of philosophical criticism. Speculative philosophy, without an idealistic substructure, requires observancy of stringency to break the authoritarian power claim of stringency. Benjamin, whose original draft of this passage theory combined incomparable speculative skill with micrological proximity to factual contents,
Attention passengers.
remarked in a correspondence about the first properly metaphysical stratum of this work that it could be accomplished only as an impermissible, poetic one. This admission of surrender denotes as much the difficulty of a philosophy loath to decline as the point at which its concept can be carried further. It was probably due to Benjamin's acceptance of dialectical materialism as a Weltanschauung, so to speak, with closed eyes. But the fact that he could not bring himself to put the definitive version of the passage theory in writing reminds us that philosophy is more than bustle only where it runs the risk of total failure. This in reply to the absolute certainty that has traditionally been obtained by stealth. Benjamin's defeatism about his own thought was conditioned by the undialectical positivity of which he carried a formally unchanged remnant, from his theological phase into his materialistic phase. By comparison, Hegel's equating negativity with a thought that keeps philosophy from both the positivity of science and the contingency of dilettantism has empirical substance. Thought as such, before all its particular contents, is an act of negation, of resistance to that which is forced upon it. This is what thought has inherited from its archetype, the relation between labor and material. Today, when ideologues tend more than ever to encourage thought to be positive, they cleverly note that positivity runs precisely counter to thought, and that it takes friendly persuasion by social authority to accustom thought to positivity. The effort implied in the concept of thought itself, as the counterpart of passive contemplation, is negative already, a revolt against being importuned to bow to every immediate thing. Critical germs are contained in judgment and inference, the thought forms without which not even the critique of thought can do. They are never definite without simultaneously excluding what they have failed to achieve. And whatever does not bear their stamp will be denied, although with questionable authority, by the truth they seek to organize. The judgment that a thing is such and such is a potential rebuttal to claims of any relation of its subject and predicate other than the one expressed in the judgment. Thought forms tend beyond that which merely exists, is merely given. The point which thinking aims at, its material, is not solely a spiritualized control of nature. While doing violence to the object of its syntheses, our thinking heeds a potential that waits in the object, and it unconsciously obeys the idea of making amends to the pieces for what it has done. In philosophy, this unconscious tendency becomes conscious. Accompanying irreconcilable thoughts is the hope for reconcilement, because the resistance of thought to mere things in being, the commanding freedom of the subject, intends in the object even that of which the object was deprived by objectification.